Hey everybody, it's Dr. V. It's Friday, and I don't normally do readings on Fridays, but I don't know about you guys, but it has been an intense week, and I was looking at some of the astrology that is out there, and I actually saw a post yesterday from Tasha Silver um, about the energies and what's going on this week, and it's really about bringing up um, old wounds that are coming up to be healed this week. And what that means, of course, is for many of us that we are being, although I don't necessarily like the word triggered, but triggered is what's happening. There's a lot of really intense emotions, a lot of really big feelings that are happening, a lot of stuff that's coming into the surface to be healed. And within this divine love connection, it can, because of the love is so strong, because it's so real, it can really bring up super intense feelings that we get to deal with, we get to choose to deal with. And so excuse me, I'm gonna go ahead and do a quick, I don't know, we'll see, energy update for this week, to help you navigate through these challenging waters. So I've set aside, I've actually pulled out a handful of decks here to work with. And so I'm going to go ahead and just jump right in. I have no format today. I'm just going to freewheel because I feel like that's what needs to happen. So I'm going to start with the Romance Angels cards, and as you can hear, maybe I can move this lane so I can shuffle on camera and you can see. I've already cleansed the space. I've been burning sage and Palo Santo all morning because, like I'm saying, the energy has been intense. So I want to start with I'm going to pull 3 cards for the Divine Masculine, where he is in his headspace right now. The first card that came up is Release Your Ex. The next one that's interesting is Unrequited Love. And this next one is Worth Waiting For. So what I'm getting, and this is the Divine Masculine's headspace, these 3 cards right now, Release Your Ex, Unrequited Love, and Worth Waiting For, are telling me, it's a pretty clear picture that if he is in, if he's in a karmic situation, that he's getting to the point that he understands that he needs to move on, that he needs to, that like this card says, there's not enough attraction or chemistry to keep this relationship going. This one says, the time has come to clear your energy. And this final one, Worth Waiting For, is that he is understanding. So if he is in a karmic relationship or a soulmate connection or something that is keeping him, that's preventing him from being able to come forward in union with you, divine counterpart, then he's becoming aware of that. So this is where he is in his head, that he knows it. Doesn't necessarily mean that he's taking action, but he definitely knows that that's going on. If he's not in a karmic situation, then it could just be that he still has lingering connections to old lovers, to old people in his life, that he hasn't cleared his energy, that he hasn't done his work and healed and let that go. It can also be a combination of the two. It can be like carrying old wounds into new relationships, which people tend to do quite often because they don't do their healing work, and then it impacts what's going on with their relationship. It's that saying, like Erykah Badu, Bag Lady. I don't know if you're familiar with that song, but she's like, one of the song lyrics is, Bag Lady, you better hurry up. Bag Lady, you're going to miss your bus. You can't hurry up because you got too much stuff. And so what's happening right now is for the Divine Masculine is that he's really becoming aware of the fact that he needs to release the past and move forward. And he also understands that this love that he's wanted with his divine feminine it's worth doing the work. It's worth doing all of this so that he can get to this. But I also feel like that in his mental space that he is wanting to let the divine feminine know that he is worth waiting for. So if she's feeling frustrated, feeling like what the hell's going on with this situation, is he ever going to resolve it? He's asking her to be patient in his mental space. So let's go with the divine feminine. Where is she in her mental space? The first card is attraction. OMG, I totally know what that's about. Next card is deception. And the next card is past life relationship. So first, just this, again, divine feminine mental space. This is about operating with the law of attraction. So if you're in a space where you're feeling lack of confidence, if you're feeling doubt and question, and you're feeling insecure, or you're feeling, those lower level emotions, and there's nothing wrong with feeling those feelings, right? They're real. It's part of the human experience, but we have to learn how to rise up out of them so that we're not staying stuck in them. So what this is, the divine feminine really has to focus on intentionally creating her emotional experience right now. So take that because this is in the mental space, and take control of your thoughts, take control over what you're focusing on, and focus on what you want to attract into your life instead of what you're not feeling is happening in your life. Does that make sense? So it's like, focus on the good stuff. Gratitude, take an inventory of all the wonderful things you have in your life. Spend time doing things that are nurturing and caring for yourself and for your soul, so that you can raise your vibe intentionally. Because if you're in a space of neediness and just those lower level emotions, you're not going to be very attractive to the energy that you want to bring, or to your divine masculine. So deception. So in her thoughts, this is what's happening. There could be actual deception going on, but what I get when I'm picking up the energy that's coming through with this is that this is more about her thinking and not trusting. So it's like, are you thinking like, maybe my divine masculine isn't really my divine masculine? Maybe he's playing me. Maybe he's not being honest. Maybe he's using me. All of those things. So in your thoughts, you're like, is he being deceptive? Is he being a Decepticon here? And if that's the case, then if that's where your thoughts are, then you're not in faith. That's not, if you know that you know that you know beyond a shadow of a doubt that your divine masculine is your divine masculine, then you have to trust the connection, trust the love. The deception is when we go into these energies of somebody is deceiving us. That is not an energy of faith. It's not an energy of trust. And so that needs to be addressed with the divine feminine, and that's a wound, okay? That's a wound that's coming through also for her that she's healing this week, is that inability to trust, like at a really core level, that she's always sort of waiting for the other shoe to drop, for the truth to come out, which is that things were never what they were painted out to be. I hope that makes sense. Now, I'm not saying that there isn't deception going on in the relationship. There very well could be. But what I'm getting is that this is more of her perception of things, and it's based more on her fears about trusting, being vulnerable, and surrendering. So in her headspace, this is also this past life relationship. I mean, seriously, that is, she knows, right? The divine feminine, if you know that this is your divine counterpart, that you have to really trust that. And she knows it in her mind. She really does know it. And, but when she goes into the fear space and the doubt space, that's when she starts questioning it. So the divine feminine is feeling a little bit, from what I'm getting from these cards, is that she's just feeling really off center and needing to really get grounded again, get grounded in who she is and in the trust and the faith that she has. so that she can be her best version of herself. This is also suggesting to me that there may be some lingering energies that the divine feminine needs to release for her old karmic partners that she has or may have had, and to release any of those old lingering energies from past life connections. Okay. I want to use the Angel Love deck, and I want to move into what's in the heart space. So I'm going to shuffle a couple times for the heart space for the divine masculine. What is in the divine masculine's heart space toward his divine feminine spirit? What is in the divine masculine's heart space for his divine feminine, please, spirit? What is in the divine masculine's heart space for his divine feminine? Okay. First card is sexuality. Next card is action. And third card is sweetness. Oh, you guys, that's so beautiful. I'm loving this. Okay, so first of all, he's like in his heart, he's super attracted. Like, he is magnetized toward his divine feminine. Like, he is like, this woman is, amazing. And I'm using male and female pronouns, but please remember that we're talking about energies here. So masculine can be female, feminine can be male. Ugh, sorry. Okay, so yeah, he is like super, super attracted to her. It's like a magnetic pull. Like, what I'm getting is just like this animal, primal attraction that he feels toward her. And in his heart, he's ready to take action. He is ready to take action. So, or he's getting closer to being ready to take action. So it's like he is, he's been in this space of thinking and contemplating and whatnot. And now he's moving toward action. Like, he's ready to, he's getting to the space where he's like, okay, whatever is going on in this situation, something needs to shift. There needs to be forward movement. There needs to be dynamic action forward. And he's in that space in his heart where he's ready to take action. I wouldn't be surprised if you have communication with your masculine, if there are things that come through, if he indicates wanting to take your relationship to the next level. So be prepared for that. And then there's this last one, is sweetness, that he is just really feeling. It's not like... It's very interesting because the sexuality and the sweetness, that it encompasses both aspects of love. That magnetic, powerful animal magnetism that you feel toward one another. And the sweetness and the tenderness and this, like, that he feels. Like, what I'm getting is that he's feeling this sense of almost like protectiveness, that he feels like he wants to wrap his arms around her, and he sees her sweetness, and he just feels very tender toward her, and he feels like he wants to cherish and protect her and just love on her in all of these ways that he may not be accustomed to feeling. And so it's really, that's really beautiful energy. That's where he is in his heart space. Like, he is super attracted to you. He's ready to take action, and he's just feeling this sense of tenderness, sweetness. He really wants to cherish you and cherish your feelings. That's beautiful. Okay, so let's jump into where the divine feminine is toward the masculine. Spirit, can you tell me where the divine feminine is in her heart space toward the masculine? Thank you. Okay, interesting. Sacrifice. First card. Next card is immersion. And the third card is love. I'm kind of laughing here because I'm seeing a theme with the energies here. So the first card is sacrifice, right? She in her heart, she's feeling like she's feeling like she may have to make a sacrifice. Like she's feeling like that maybe she might have to take some distance from her divine masculine because things aren't looking the way that she thinks that they need to look, or they're not progressing the way that she wants to look, or she's feeling like the sacrificial lamb, like she's the one that's being sacrificed because of the circumstances, because maybe he's, you know, in that karmic situation, or in a different situation that he isn't, that she feels like he's just never going to leave. He's not ready to move on. This is never going to happen. And so she's kind of in that space of, well, maybe I need to move on. Maybe I need to let go. Maybe I need to do something different. So she may be feeling like she has to sacrifice, or that he is sacrificing her and their connection because of his own unwillingness to move forward. This is interesting, okay? Look at that face on that card. That is like, you know, not good. It doesn't look like a good energy. So she is immersed in, I mean, honestly, I'm just going to say she's kind of mired in her own shit right now. Like she is kind of, the divine feminine is really feeling like immersed in, she's not feeling she's feeling that pain of sacrifice. She's feeling just not very positive right now. She's not feeling like this connection is maybe going to go forward or give her have the outcome that she wants. And she is feeling completely buried in this stuff. It's not a great, that's really not a great space for her and in her heart space, right? But here's this thing, is that it's love. She still is feeling and holding on to the love. Like despite the stuff that she's dealing with right now, she's still holding on to the love. She's still clinging to the love. That's the thing that she knows to be true in her heart, is that the love is real, and she's really holding on to that. So what I'm really getting here is that the divine feminine is doing a lot of healing right now. Like she is really doing a lot of healing. So these two things, this sacrifice and immersion for her, is about letting that old stuff come up so that she can heal it. Like she's really in, I get this like really strong sense of dynamic, fast healing, that a lot of shit is coming up right now so that she can really address it. I'm going to pull a couple of clarifiers for that just because I'm curious. The energies for the feminine are pretty intense, and maybe that's, I don't know if the rest of you are experiencing that, but it definitely has been my experience. So okay, so I pulled some clarifiers, and this is what came up, okay, with the romance angels for the divine feminine, where she is. Again, remember I said that she's having some doubts about the connection, but yes, divine feminine, if you're having questions, if you're having fears, and all of those things are coming up, just be reassured that this connection is real, okay? It's real. Don't doubt it anymore. Give yourself the space to be where you are. And stay optimistic. Remember this, law of attraction, where the sacrifice team, or all of this stuff, is that she's really not seeing the bright side of the connection. She's feeling pretty down about it. Like maybe things aren't moving forward. And so this card is saying, just remain optimistic, raise your vibration, do your healing. Like don't try and spiritually bypass your healing, because that's not going to do anybody any favors. Do your healing, do your work, but recognize that you're right now, you're in a mental prison of your own making. Like this is your own thoughts and your own doubts that are keeping you down. So get back up and stay optimistic. And keep an open mind. It may not be exactly the way that you think it should be. That's the thing, is that sometimes we have agendas, we have ideas, we think things are supposed to look a certain way, or they're supposed to show up a certain way. And if they don't, then we're like, oh, it's not happening the way that I think it should. And then we get into this really negative space. And what this card is saying, what the angels are saying, is just keep an open mind from this, okay? Like it may look like there's nothing happening on the surface. It may look like all hope is lost, but look what's happening over here. The divine masculine is moving. There is energy. You may not be seeing it. You may not see it on the surface because he may not be showing it. He may not be saying it. It may not be happening where you can see it. But in his mind and in his heart, there is forward motion, and it's happening. You're just not seeing it. So you just have to trust the process as it's going. Okay, so what are I'm going to pull some cards here. So what are I'm going to use the Divine Feminine and Masculine Reunited deck here. So what are the overall energies of the connection right now, Spirit? What are the overall energies of the connection? Sorry, I keep shuffling off camera, so I need to be more mindful of putting it over here. Oops. That was fun. Try that again. Spirit, what are the overall energies of the connection right now? The first card, shadow aspect. Second card, transcendence. And the masculine and feminine cards that I pulled out are the God of Love and the Goddess of Wisdom. Look, 11. Whoop. Okay. So I'm going to start with the shadow. So what's happening right now, the energy right now, is that both of them, both the divine masculine and feminine, are wrestling with their shadow. There's some shadow integration happening. So that's that healing. Remember that I mentioned in the beginning about things that are coming up for healing. So a lot of that is the shadow. It's that they're both recognizing where they're being triggered, where their divine counterpart is rubbing them the wrong way, and how they behave in response to that. So sometimes if you have, you can, because of this connection, because the depth, and because it's so meaningful, that it really brings up a lot of stuff for people. And sometimes people will avoid it, right? They'll avoid their triggering, they'll avoid the healing, they'll avoid all of that. But what I'm getting from this is that both of the partners are recognizing their own shadow. They're like, okay, this is my stuff. I was talking with a friend earlier this week because I was feeling some pretty big feelings, and she reminded me of a quote that comes from, I don't even remember what it was, but she said, when you're hysterical, it's historical. And so what that means is that when you're feeling these giant, huge emotions coming up, and you're like, wanting to torch the place, or, completely act out and go left because of something that's happening, it's important to recognize that is not about your twin necessarily. It's about you. It's about something that you need to heal. And so both of them, because of the energy of this week of inner healing, both the divine masculine and feminine have been triggered by each other in pretty significant ways. And they're not retreating from it. They're both facing it. They're both saying, okay, what is this telling me about me? So that's a lot of healing that's happening. What's great about this is that there's transcendence. So they're going to rise above it. So even though you probably feel like, oh my gosh, this is so significant, and how are we ever going to get above this? This energy is so big that maybe one or both of us is thinking that this connection isn't sustainable and maybe we should move on. So if that's the energy where you're feeling like, look, just be encouraged, because it is going to move, and you'll both be able to rise above it. Fortunately, this energy will be moving through this moon energy will be moving through in like Saturday is when it really ends, and then there'll be some lingering energies for a while, but just be prepared that some of that stuff is going to lift. So what came up for the divine feminine energy is the goddess of wisdom. Athena was a mother and a warrior. So she was both of those things. She came out of her father's head fully developed, and she was a warrior, she was a mother, she was just all of that. But she was very wise. She was very, very wise. And wisdom is knowledge and action. So what this is saying is that what I'm getting from this is that the divine feminine is moving into a space of wisdom where she is putting the information that she knows. So it's like listening to these readings. If you listen to other readers on YouTube or get your own readings, that you understand that there are certain things that you need to do in this connection. Sometimes you need to let go, you need to release the outcome, you need to do your own healing work, you need to meditate, you need to clear the energies. You know all of these things that you need to do, but it's one thing to know it, it's another thing to apply it. And so what I'm getting from this is that this is a place, the divine feminine is in a place where she's actually applying the knowledge that she has and becoming wise. So she's learning how not to go with the triggers and not to just give in when she's feeling some kind of way. She's learning how to rise above and take her power back, really, and take and trust what's happening. Trust herself, trust the process, trust the love. And I don't know how to say his name, but the God of love. So this is where the masculine is, right? And it's kind of funny because he had, you can see that in his other earlier cards with his heart space. The God of love, he's like rising into that space of really being in the love space. But what I'm really getting from this is that I've talked about this before. You guys probably have heard me say this about the patriarchy and masculinity and the way that people are socialized, especially men, around not being in touch with their feelings, not being comfortable feeling like they can express love, not being comfortable with physical affection. There's all of those things that come through. And that's where, and that can be a block, right? It can be a block if you're not, as a masculine energy, you're not comfortable or not sure how to navigate those waters of love, or if you've blocked yourself, because a lot of masculines that I've become aware of really kind of block the love energy because they don't feel worthy, they don't feel deserving, they feel inadequate in some way. And so oftentimes people will settle for a lesser kind of imitation love because it feels safer than this divine love. And so where he is right now is that he is stepping into this God of love, where he is learning how to be a masculine who is comfortable expressing and receiving love. So what's coming through for me is he's also learning about love languages. Okay, so it's like, if you've read that book, it's an interesting read, but he's learning about love language. So he's learning with that the ways in which he as a masculine expresses love, it may not be the way that his feminine expresses love, and he's learning how to be more open to other ways, how to speak more her language and how to teach her his language. That's really what's coming through. Is it's about love languages. It's about him understanding that the way that he interprets and sees love may not be the way that other people do it, and learning how to express that more succinctly so that his feminine can understand what he's saying. Does that make sense? I hope it makes sense, that he is learning how to communicate love and affection and value more clearly, so that it's not, so that the confusion and the lack of clarity is no longer present in the connection. He's learning how to be more expressive and articulate in how he shows love, and becoming more comfortable with giving and receiving love. Okay, so that's the overall energy of what's happening right now. Let me think for a second. What is it? Another question that I want to dig into. Okay, so the Spirit wants me to pull some cards around blocks. Like, what are they? What's blocking the union right now? Spirit, can you give us some insight on what's blocking the union? Thank you. Forgiving and learning. So there's some forgiving that needs to happen. Okay, so that's a block. Playfulness. And the last one, this is so crazy. I'm not even surprised by any of this. So the first one is about forgiving and learning. They both need to forgive each other. They need to forgive themselves. Any hurt that has been caused, inadvertently or intentionally by the other, needs to be forgiven. So I suggest practicing pretty intensely for the next 24 to 48 hours the I can't ever say it, but it's the Hawaiian practice of I'm sorry, please forgive me, I love you, thank you. Just keep doing that over and over and over again until you really feel the release of the energy. Forgive your partner. So like the scripture just came up, like, forgive them for they know not what they do. Like, they're learning too. Just like you're learning and growing, they're learning and growing. And so give each other some space to learn and to grow, and recognize that this unconditional love is going to require constant forgiving, constant learning. It's going to require that. So create the space for that. Create the space for you both to be human, for you both to be to have the grace for one another, for yourself as the other, okay? For both of you to be able to be humans growing along this journey together. Another block is y'all are not being playful enough. It's like that whole, like, the Joker, why so serious? Like, stop being so damn serious all the time. Have some fun. Flirt with each other. Like, send each other flirty texts, or if you're not in communication, then don't, of course, do that. But have some fun. Go out and play. Do things that bring light and joy to your life. Everything feels very heavy right now. And again, that's part of the energy in the universe, but also, we don't have to necessarily just succumb to the energies. We can overcome. We can choose to rise above it. And part of that is allowing yourself the space to play. So stop taking things so seriously. Give yourself some space. If you're in connection, if you're in contact with your partner, with your counterpart, send them playful texts. Send them, have fun conversations where it's not all about the heaviness, it's not all business, it's not all, whatever. Have some fun, bring some light back into the union. This is like, it feels very, very heavy right now. So bring that playfulness back. But here's the other thing, is love yourself first. Loving yourself first is not just about, I love myself, making statements like that. It's actually behaving in ways that demonstrate that. So one of the things I always ask my clients is things like, how would you eat if you really loved yourself? Like, what would you put in your body? How would you exercise? Would it be a battle to get to the gym or to do your workout if you really loved yourself? Would you take the time to meditate? Would you take the time to pray? Like, how would you live if you truly loved yourself? And then start living that way. Really start living that way. talk nicely to you, speak kindly to yourself, be gentle with yourself, have some grace for yourself. And you know this as you heal and love yourself, that you also, that energy goes towards your counterpart too. So as you love yourself, as you heal yourself, as you do all of that work, it also helps the union. It also helps the connection. So any work that you do internally benefits your counterpart. So that shouldn't be your primary reason for doing it, but just as a side note, as a benefit, that is what happens. So give yourself that space. So the final cards I want to pull are from the Mystical Shaman Oracle. And this is just messages from your higher self, from the universe that want to come through. Like I said, this is a really intense time, and we need to, I feel like the universe really wants to support those of us that are in this journey in as many ways as we will allow it. So I'm going to pull a couple of cards as just messages from the universe. Actually, okay. Interesting. This just came through. So I'm going to set this aside for 1 minute. Okay. There are messages that want to come through that, okay. I hear you, Spirit, loud and clear. Okay, what does the Divine Masculine want the Divine Feminine to know right now? Okay, got it. Sorry, I know I'm being quiet right now. The Divine Masculine wants the Divine Feminine to know this. This is the message that came through. And that he really, truly does respect her. There's a deep sense of respect, and he respects the connection. He understands on a soul level what's happening. And he has a great deal of respect and really reverence for it. That's the word that came through. And he wants you to know that his higher self is aware of it, and he's really I keep seeing reverence that comes up, that there's a deep sense of reverence that he has for you and for this connection. And so his lower self may not be showing you that. That may not be coming through in his interactions with you, but he wants you to know that. And he wants you to know that he's in the process of freeing himself, okay? He is in the process of doing the work that he needs to do to free himself so that he can come to you prepared. He doesn't want to come to you as a broken, lower version of himself. He knows that he has work to do. He knows that he has stuff that he has to get done, and he's doing the work to do that. And he also wants you to do the same, okay? So he's saying, like, if there are things that are keeping you bound, if there are things that you're stuck in, do your work too, so that when we come together, we can be the best and highest versions of ourselves, not the lower versions that are constantly triggering each other and causing each other pain, but that we can really be the great dynamic team that we are meant to be, so that we can do our mission in this world. And he is bringing in he wants you to know that he's in his battle energy. This is Aries, I don't know how to say that, but he is in battle mode, okay? So, but it's not against you. It's not against actually anything other than his own internal shit. Like, he is recognizing that there's been stuff that has limited him. There has been stuff that has caused him to not be his best version of himself. And he's battling against that. He's really battling against that. But the other piece of it is that he's recognizing that because the masculine energy has been in this sense of battle for so long, that he has armored himself. He's armored his heart. He has built up some barriers and some walls to intimacy and to connection. And he's also working through that. So he's learning how to step into a space of openness and vulnerability and not feeling like he needs to protect himself so much. So right now, he's really in an internal battle against to free himself, right? He's really in a space where he's really doing the work internally and spiritually to free himself. And he wants you to know that he, even though you may not see it, even though you may not know it, that's what's happening for him. And he wants you to know that. So what is the message that the divine feminine has for the divine masculine? Aww. Oh my gosh. You guys, seriously, this is like, I can't even with this because these messages are so beautiful. Okay. Yes. Okay. So the divine feminine wants the divine masculine to know that she really appreciates him, really, truly appreciates him. Like, he may not feel it. He may feel like she's like taking him for granted, or that she's not in a good, like, that she's retreating and, you know, in that space. But she wants the divine masculine to know that she really, truly, deeply appreciates him and who he is, and values who he is and his role in this life. And right now, she is in the process of healing her family issues too. So she's doing some deep work in healing and forgiving and moving through her stuff. Because she is recognizing that, again, like I was saying about the triggers and like how things come up, that she's recognizing that a lot of what is happening for her is because of those historical family issues, and she's doing her work to heal that. She also wants him to do his work because he has some of the similar stuff. Remember, you guys are mirrors to each other. And so if you're mirroring each other, then often you're going to mirror each other's pain. And so she's saying, like, I'm doing my work internally, you do yours too, okay? And she's stepping into her power. Lilith is one of my favorites. I mean, I don't know if you guys are familiar with her, but she was Adam's first wife in Eden, the Garden of Eden. And it was like, God's like, hey, Lilith, guess what? You get to be the mother of all humanity, and you get to be subservient to Adam. And she was like, yeah, no, not interested. And so she tricked God into giving her wings, and she flew up out of Eden and was like, I'm good. I am good with that. And so she took off, you know, because she knew that she was equal with Adam. She didn't want to be underneath him. She knew that they were equal, and that's how it should be. So she is she's powerful, right? She's really powerful energy. Speaking her truth, she is the one that is comfortable in her sexuality. And so what she's telling the divine masculine is that she wants him to know that she's stepping into her power, that she is really, truly stepping into her power, not holding back, not going to be afraid anymore, not going to be overly cautious and trying to play nice in the world. She's going to step up and be the big, badass, powerful woman that she is capable of being, and that she knows that she is. And that's where she is. She's stepping into her power. She's not going to be a victim anymore. She's not going to be victimized by her past and by society and what the limits. Like, she's stepping into her power, and she's really going to go after what she wants and get it. Okay, God, this reading is a lot longer than I intended it to be, but, you know, when messages want to come through, they just want to come through. So, now, final messages from the universe. Because I didn't do a spread and I'm just like showing you the cards, it looks like a big old disaster, right? On screen, but okay. Final messages from the universe. Beautiful. The first one that came through is the seer. The next is the crow, and the next is the spiral. So the seer is all about knowing, right? It's that intuitive knowing. It's about being able to step into that higher wisdom and seeing beyond the obvious, the ordinary. It's that bird's eye view. It's a truth seeking. Okay. This card is saying, trust your intuition, follow as it leads you forward. You may feel lost, and it may feel like your hunch is taking you in circles, but the hidden realms don't follow the rules of a two-dimensional map. Trust your gut and allow your perception of your circumstances to widen to include the nuances and subtle cues that you normally miss if you take things at face value. Your vision is clear and you're exactly where you're supposed to be. Awesome. What's interesting, because it talked about that card talks about you might feel like you're going in circles, and the next card that we pulled was the spiral. And says, to renew yourself, you have to shed your old skin. You've already done this. So don't keep scraping away at the old, but welcome the soft new skin that's starting to grow. Break the habit of working on your faults all the time and let nature take its course. Know that a new skin feels vulnerable and scary at times. Trust the medicine of the spiral as it guides you to the journey of renewal. So what I'm getting from this card is really about that yes, you are healing. Yes, there's more and more healing that you're doing, and there's always deeper levels. I think I've said this in a previous reading that healing doesn't come in linear ways. It comes in spirals. We'll heal one level and then we'll go deeper and heal the next. And that's just how it is. And so what this is saying is that, you've been through some healing. You've already done some really amazing work. So I feel like the universe is giving you some accolades, a pat on the back. Like you've done a lot of great work. So good job. And don't feel like you need to continue to allow the process. Like when you feel something come up, deal with it. But don't feel like you have to always be in that space of healing and growth and healing and growth. You are in a new phase. You've done some growth, you've done some healing, and so you're learning how to be in the world with this new way of being. And you're right where you need to be. It's perfect. It's beautiful. So, sorry if you can hear my stomach growling. I haven't eaten anything yet. The next card, the final card message from the universe, is the crow. And the crow is the keeper of the universal law and the law of truth. He teaches us to walk our talk, to find congruence between who we are and who we say we are and how we live. He is about speaking truth, creating our own truth, and bringing the truth to every situation that we find ourselves in. Instead, the invitation on this card says, when you speak the truth and practice truth, eventually everything you say becomes true. Your power to co-create with the truth is universal law. Correct what is untrue in your life without judgment and let the truth set you free. So what this card is saying, the interpretation that I'm getting from this is that, especially for those of you that are feeling doubt and feeling questions about whether or not this connection is really real or whether it's whatever, that whether it's an illusion, that stand in the truth, know your truth, know that this connection is real, it is what it is, and stand on that and continue to hold space for that, and also continue to speak your truth, right? Don't feel like you can't express yourself to your counterpart. Don't feel like you can't be honest with your feelings and your experience. Speak the truth, okay? Speak the truth to yourself, speak the truth to others. This is part of being in your power, and understand that the truth really does set people free. Being honest, if there's any areas in your life where you're not being honest with yourself, you're not being honest with your counterpart, not being honest with others, now it's time to start clearing that up. The universe wants you to live a life of integrity and deep honesty with who you are and in alignment with your highest truth. So, beautiful. I hope this reading helped clear up some of the energies that we have all, if you've been experiencing like I have. I hope that it was useful and beneficial. Please ask any questions in the comments if you have any, and reach out to me on Instant Go if you have any other questions or things that you need to have addressed. Talk with you all soon. I'll be back here on Sunday with a reading for the following week. Okay, take care. Bye-bye.